What's up guys, it's Naf here. So today I wanted to make a quick video about Linza the Disgraced. She's an additional Barrows brother that is unlocked after completing the Kindred Spirits quest, and is fairly unique because she drops tier 80 gear and has 150,000 life points, whilst the other Barrows brothers drop tier 70 gear and only have 12,000 life points each. Now, the boss itself is pretty straightforward, so what I decided to do was test killing her with a variety of gear setups, just to give an indication of what gear is required to kill her, and what's possibly the lowest setup required to kill her. So, starting off, I tried full tier 70 power gear with a chaotic staff, mainly consisting of subjugation gear. So, all of the setups tested will be using magic armor, casting fire spells. She uses melee attacks and is weak to fire spells, so this is the most effective way to fight her. Now, she does have a special ability which has a chance of reflecting between 500 to 800 damage back onto the attacking player whenever she receives damage. This damage can't be reduced by protection prayers, but essentially means you want to attack with a harder hitting and slower attacking weapon, mainly being the two-handed staves. A wand, on the other hand, would produce a lot more frequent attacks and would result in you being hit by a lot more reflected damage. The gear she drops has the same set effect, having a 1 in 8 chance to reflect damage back onto attackers, and this effect stacks with other damage reflecting items, such as the Death Touch bracelet. The gear also requires 80 defense to wear, and 80 attack to wield the mace, and does provide decent armor and accuracy boost over the other Barrows sets. So the first kill was relatively easy, but I was using tier 95 prayers and extreme potions with the tier 70 gear, so it wasn't much of a challenge. I decided to turn it down a notch. So in test number 2, I went for a much simpler build with full War Priest with an Arim staff, which is tier 70. I also did use low level curse prayers requiring around 54 prayer rather than Soul Split and Anguish to make it more realistic for the sort of players that may be attempting this. So I will speed up this kill, there isn't much interesting going on. So just like before, I didn't have many issues with that kill either. It can definitely just be said I did need more food to make up for the fact I didn't have Soul Split and I had less effective armor. Now for the third and final test, I did decide with pretty much the most minimalistic gear I had in my bank, which consisted of a tier 60 weapon and Mystic gear, which is tier 50. Now on this attempt, I did actually be a lot more proactive with the skills, and as you can see in the footage, I did actually attempt to kite her somewhat. And on top of that, I did also use protection prayers. It doesn't mitigate any of the reflected damage you take, but it does reduce the melee hit she is doing. So as you can see, with the combination of a few thresholds and abilities, you are able to mitigate a lot of her damage by sort of kiting her back and forward. So using the threshold ability Deep Impact will hold her in place for 3.5 seconds. Then using Surge creates a bit of distance between you and Linza. And whilst she's coming towards you again, you can use Asphyxiate, which will hold her in place for a longer amount of time, just providing yourself more time to damage her without her actually hitting you back. And once the hold from Asphyxiate is over, you essentially just build up your threshold again to around 60 or so, and when the abilities are off cooldown, you just rinse and repeat. So in comparison to the last kill, this yielded great results, killing her with plenty of food left over with very low level gear. Now the gear Linza provides doesn't seem to have too much practical use endgame, but if you're an Ironman, getting a few pieces of tier 80 tank armor definitely wouldn't hurt in the earlier stages of your Ironman progression before you can get a hold of some of the better gear in Gold Wars Dungeon 1 and 2, as it is power gear. But that about wraps it up. I really didn't want to have anything too long, just a simple quick guide because there really wasn't much information at all about this boss out there, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and leave a comment if there is any specific content you do want to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.